My name's Nadia Alexander. I'm the director of the Singapore International Dispute Resolution Academy, and we call that SIDRA for short. We're based at Singapore Management University. SIDRA was announced as an idea in 2016 at the Global Pound Conference, which was held here in Singapore, and it was announced by the Chief Justice Sundaresh Menon. And SIDRA is a platform, if you like, for a global conversation, for global initiatives, for global exchanges around cross-border dispute resolution, whether that be mediation, litigation, arbitration, or mixed mode processes. We have 3 programs. One is the International Dispute Resolution Program, and there we focus on empirical studies on international dispute resolution, whatever the mechanism. The second program is the Singapore Convention on Mediation program, where we focus obviously on the convention. And the third program is our program on the Belt and Road Initiative. The idea behind the SIDRA survey was to find out what users of cross-border dispute resolution were taking into account, how they were making decisions about doing cross-border dispute resolution, how they were making choices about dispute resolution mechanisms, whatever they be. So we decided to survey users only. So the survey is 100% user-centric. It doesn't focus on one dispute resolution mechanism. It goes across the board. It zooms in on cross-border disputes, so it doesn't look at domestic disputes, and it takes views from around the world. We were very excited this year to launch the survey findings, the inaugural report of the SIDRA International Dispute Resolution Survey. So this is the inaugural report here. You'll notice on the cover that we have a jacaranda tree. And we chose a jacaranda tree because of its symbolism. There's an Amazonian legend about the jacaranda trees, and according to this legend, the goddess of wisdom and ethics chose the jacaranda tree as a vehicle, if you like, to share wisdom and ethics amongst the people of the earth. And why the jacaranda tree? Because it has a very, very sturdy trunk. It's a very hardy tree. And at the same time, it's got very, very long branches, as you can see here. And then a number of times a year, it bursts into blossom. It has these soft, almost fluffy purple blossoms that actually change the color of the sky and also fall like and create a beautiful carpet on the earth. And that way, wisdom and ethics was said to spread among humankind. And we thought that with the wisdom of all of the respondents to this survey, we wanted to share that with as many people as possible. Let me give you some highlights from the results of the SIDRA survey, and I'm going to focus on mediation because I think that will be of most interest to your audience. First of all, in terms of choosing a dispute resolution mechanism, the survey confirms what most of us know, that having a direct enforceability mechanism is most important. And for that reason, it was no surprise that the dispute resolution mechanism of choice in 2019 remained arbitration, followed by litigation, then followed by mediation and mixed mode dispute resolution processes fairly evenly in 3rd and 4th place. What was very interesting there was when you combined mixed mode processes, so mediation combined with other processes, and standalone mediation, you found that mediation was being used a lot more than we might otherwise anticipate, and it was being used pretty much at the same rate as litigation was. Also, when you drilled down and looked at what were client users saying as compared to legal users, lawyers representing their clients, you found that direct enforceability was an absolute must for lawyers, but it was less important, right? It was one of a bundle of factors for client users. And when it came to using mediation, right, direct enforceability ranked quite low. Why? It's not that it's not important to have a direct enforceability mechanism, but when people were using mediation, because this survey is based on experience, not just perceptions or a wish list, but when you use mediation, what we found that people were mediating those disputes where they felt, if we get a mediated settlement agreement, there's going to be most likely compliance with that. So there's high compliance, right, was the anticipation. We think there's a very low risk of non-compliance, in which case you'd need an enforceability mechanism. What was most important for people was having a trusted third party with good ethics, right, and considerable dispute resolution experience. So the coming into force of the Singapore Convention on Mediation in 2020 changes the dynamics of the international dispute resolution landscape. Going back to the SIDRA survey, what we also saw was when people used hybrid or mixed mode procedures. And we asked them, why did you use a mixed mode procedure rather than just mediation? They said, oh, because of the direct enforceability mechanism. Then we said, well, why didn't you just use arbitration? Oh, well, we didn't use arbitration because we wanted to focus and preserve business relationships. Aha. So people were after the best of both worlds, right? And therefore they went for a hybrid. With the entry into force of the convention, I think in time this will change the use of mediation as a standalone process, and also it will increase the use of mediation as a standalone and the use of mediation in hybrid processes. Why? Because it will build confidence, particularly on the part of lawyers, to use mediation, and that will take time. So I think you'll see an increase in the use of cross-border mediation and mixed mode processes with mediation as a central feature. There has been a long debate going back decades about the importance of mediator standards and mediator ethics and what they should be in all countries where there is mediation practice. The Singapore Convention on Mediation puts a spotlight on the issue of mediator standards and mediator ethics and reinvigorates this debate and puts it for the first time, I think, on a really international plane. So I think the Singapore Convention will place much more attention on standards, and what I hope is that it will allow us to have an intelligent and robust discussion about this very complex field of ethics and standards, particularly when you have a world where we recognize now that for a flexible process you need to allow different mediation practices, different mediation practice models. You have mediators coming from very different professional backgrounds, very different cultural backgrounds. Right? And so how do you keep this flexibility and still raise the standards and the ethics so that users can discern good mediation from not good mediation? And that's the challenge. And that's certainly what we're working on at SIDRA. Right? How to have input and offer a platform for what I think needs to be a robust discussion and a sophisticated solution. So this book here is the Singapore Convention on Mediation Commentary. It's world first. It's the world's first commentary on the Singapore Convention. It goes through the convention article by article with a very detailed commentary. And we also have a section focusing on mediator standards in the context of Article 5, the Article 5 grounds of refusal. Because as most people in the mediation field know, one ground of refusal, or two in fact, relate to potential mediator misconduct. And of course the big question and the debate is, what does that mean? So we address that issue in this book as well. Congratulations, because you potentially stand to reap the most benefits from the regulatory and institutional developments, significant developments that are happening in international mediation today. And by participating in mediation competitions like IMSG, you are co-creating your own mediation futures.